I don't know either.
Janet.
Here we go.
All right. I'll call the meeting to order. It's
Bang that gavel harder.
order. Kidding, I'm kidding. I'll call the meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. All right.
The clock is working.
Yes. Diane, can you lead us in the salute to the flag, please? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a full house here tonight. If anyone needs an agenda, they're up here. But before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to recognize and dedicate tonight's meeting. We honor the life and service of Robert Stram, former chief of the Stanford Fire Company. Bob served more than 50 years in the fire service and over 3 decades here in Stanford. While I did not have a chance to get to know him personally, his reputation, and I've read this over and over again, as the backbone of the fire district and a true leader is something that has been widely shared across our community. We extend our deepest condolences to his wife Sharon, their family, and all who served alongside him. We'll be hearing a few words shortly from Ed Zick and Dennis Bukal in his honor, but I'd like to just take a moment of silence. Thank you. Ed, Dennis, would you guys like to say some words? I know Ed prepared something. Please.
You could read it.
Thank you for having me here tonight. I am here tonight on behalf of the Stanford Fire Company to honor Bob Stram, a leader in the Stanford Fire Company and proud citizen of Stanford that gave his all to make our community a great place to call home. Bob graduated high school in June 1964 and enlisted in the U.S. Navy in October of that year. He served through September of 1969. Bob was proud of his military time, and that is where his firefighting career started. He would often tell stories of his time on an ocean-going tug as a firefighter. After his discharge, Bob continued his firefighting career, where he joined the Carmel Fire Department on April 10, 1969. After moving to Unionville in May of 1976, he joined the Unionville Fire Company. There he served in various roles, including second lieutenant, second assistant chief, first assistant chief, and he is a proud life member there. He moved to Stanford and joined the Stanford Company in September 1992. Once again, he took on many leadership roles, which included 3 years as a fire police captain, 4 years as assistant chief, and 9 years as our chief, and was currently holding the office of vice president when he passed away. I can personally tell you, in all these roles, he was professional, and many of the practices he implemented continue to this day. The hours that Bob dedicated to the fire company, I don't think will ever be matched. During his tenure as chief, Bob was at that firehouse 6 to 7 days a week for hours, making sure everything was in top shape, making sure the members were safe, and making sure we had the equipment we needed to do our job. On February 6, 1971, he married the love of his life, Sharon. And all those hours he spent at the firehouse, going shopping, attending meetings, Sharon was at his side. They were inseparable, and I do mean inseparable. You know, he's the kind of guy that got all the rest of us guys in trouble. They were truly dedicated to each other. Together they raised 4 daughters, Edith, Sharon, Becky, and Bobby Joe. He also enjoyed his time with his 7 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. And Bob instilled the fire service into his family. Many are or were members of the Stanford Fire Company. Bob was proud of his fire service. He has answered his last call. This board meeting being dedicated to Bob is truly deserved. On behalf of the Stanford Fire Company, I'd like to thank the board.
And I would like to recognize Ed Zick, who was just this past weekend recognized for 45 years of service with the Stanford Fire Company, so. Justice Bucol, would you like to say something?
Just something real quick.
Thank you.
Ed denoted the years that he was assistant chief, 4 years. And that's when I was chief. I was still working at the time, him being retired, he was my assistant. And I could not have gotten a better assistant because he was retired. He took care of all the administrative work behind the scenes of the fire company for that entire 4 years. And he was a great help. He was also a member of the House Committee, which I'm the head of. So basically, we cooked. We cook a lot. And I posted a thing on the obituary. That's what I miss the most.
Aww.
Our time in the kitchen. So,
thank you for
thanks.
sharing. We'd also like to jointly dedicate this meeting to Barry Weinberger, who recently passed. Barry was the devoted husband of Mary Weinberger, who served 8 years on this town board. And our thoughts are with Mary and their family. All right, roll call.
Judy Dakota. Here. Charlie Cunningham.
Here.
Eric Hames.
Present.
Nathan Virtue.
Here.
Eddie Secord.
Here.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town board liaison reports. Ted, you want to get us started?
Yes, so I have 4 quick ones. Haunted Fortress met last night. Not really a whole lot going on. We've cemented what our scenes are going to be, and now we're looking into material that we will need for the future. Makeup, etc. So it was a rather quick meeting, so we didn't really discuss anything too huge. The CSC met last month, and again, we only had a handful of members, so we didn't, again, discuss a whole lot. The big item that was discussed were farm tours, which is something we still want to pursue in the future. That was, I think, the biggest piece of our conversation that last meeting. We may also have a member who's not certain about continuing with us. He said there's just, time commitments is a thing, so we may, in the future, I don't want to say anything definitive, we may have an opening for the CSC again, so if anybody's interested and just has prospective interest even in the committee, please step forward, we would love that. Last month, I also attended the firehouse meeting, and a couple of big ticket items. The insurance was renewed, so that's cool. The fire department has insurance, including a cybersecurity endorsement. Let's see, they're still forming a new vehicle committee with a chair and members. There was a long discussion over that. Audit was received, so that's cool. Everything came back kosher, it seems. And a command vehicle bid was actually put out the month previous, and it came back, 2 bids came back, and they accepted one of them, the lowest one, so that's cool.
Do you know how much it was?
I forget off the top of my head, I'd have to look at those minutes when they come out.
Okay.
But no, they got a new command vehicle. Last night was also, this is the 4th report, last night was also the ZBA meeting. 1 public hearing, which was a variance that was approved. which is a long story behind that one. That was on Conklin Hill. There will be 3 public hearings next month, 2 for variances regarding garages in the front of houses, and 1 for the same property that just had a public hearing last night with a change of ownership, et cetera, and all that. So if you are the neighbor to any of those properties within a 500-foot radius around the property, you will be getting notices as required by the ZBA. Other than that, it was actually really calm this month, so those are my reports.
Thanks, Teddy.
The planning board did not meet in March, so I have no report. The planning board plans to meet on April 29th. That's the next meeting. In terms of short-term rentals, I just pulled up on the system. We currently have 30. We have about 9 or so that are compliant, and maybe 5 or 6 that are in the process of getting compliant. So the remainder are still not compliant. So we're going to be sending out the 3rd letter probably next week sometime to the owners of non-compliant units to have them come in and complete the application for the short-term rental permits. So if you haven't done that yet, please do so. The law went into effect on January 1st, and it's now April 9th. So you are non-compliant.
And we're going to send letters by certified mail
Correct.
so that we know that they get them.
Yes.
Cool. We going in reverse order here?
I
think so.
didn't. Yeah, I was ready to go.
Oh,
And then,
I always follow Teddy.
no, it's fine.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good.
Sorry, Nathan.
All right, so I have 2 because I was covering for Julia the March 18th CAC meeting. So I'll give a brief update. I did send you the minutes, which are draft. But
thank you.
Yeah, okay. So the first one is, I'll give a little bit more context on this too because there's some updates, but there's the PFSA testing. So pre-testing was available for private wells in Dutchess County. And the reason I say was is because they have filled it all up. There's no more opportunity to sign up. We actually were one of the homes that had them come by, and they came by earlier this week, and it took 10 minutes. And they said it would be 3 to 4 weeks before we get the results back. Stanford has the lowest road salt application rate in the county, and so that may serve as a model for some neighboring counties. There is a roadside cleanup day, which will happen on the 18th of this month. The rain date is April 19th. Green Cross will be fertilizing the oak that's on Route 82 today. So this is a historic oak tree a week from today, so apparently that was incorrect. Apologize. There was an agenda on the item for tonight, but there was another topic around membership, which I think we're going to revisit next month. The new signs were installed for the town preserves, fishing access open to the public at the Lovett Preserve. There will be a trail walk planned for May 30th at the Lovett Reserve. And on June 13th at the Whitlock, there is also a microinvertebrate program tentatively scheduled for June 20th. There is a planting event being planned with the Dutchess Land Conservancy and DCSWCD in the fall. Barry's Bench was assembled and ready for installation. The dedication ceremony is planned for July or August. And then the last agenda item was the Greenway project, which we're going to discuss in more detail tonight. So that's the CIC. And then the Rec Commission met last night. I was unable to attend in person due to a personal conflict, but I was able to get the agenda. So I've spoken about this before. So Stanford Rec Day is May 30th. It will be 1 to 3 p.m. Letters have been sent out to businesses or organizations as far as aiding with participation and setting up stations or what have you. There is a, Mother's Day tea party at Bangor Works on May 2nd. Harney and Sons will be running a tea tasting and will provide light refreshments. And then there's some other details in here. There is an intramural Monday starting on May 4th. I am tentatively covering one of these things, but there will be, I think it's every 2 weeks. So it's 8 weeks lined up starting May 4th. So there's going to be basketball, ultimate frisbee, field hockey, volleyball, pickleball, tennis, soccer, and cornhole. So there's going to be a bunch of intramural,
Buckets of
just
fun.
get out and do some activities. And that will be 6:30 at night till 7:45 p.m. Lauren is still looking for a recreation leader or two for the summer. She does have a swim coach, and all the other positions seem to be filled. And then as far as there is a program that Lauren is trying to get off the ground called the Stanford Eco Explorers Program, and combined with the Teen Fitness Foundation. And so she's applied for a grant and hopes to hear back, I thought it was in here, and we'll find out in July as far as
Dynamite.
the grant being accepted or not. And that was it for the rec. And I won't discuss the transfer station because I know that's on the agenda for later too.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you want to talk about the transfer station when it comes up?
I can. We all can.
Yes, collectively.
Short updates for me. No water quality committee meeting last month, but we're gonna pick back up this month, actually next week. And then also for the zoning commission, that is going to start up this month on the 30th. And so we'll also talk about that in a little bit. Is that?
Easy peasy, yeah, you're good. All right, supervisor's report. I'll do that one last. Okay. I wanted to first share an update. I received a question, and I did put in the newsletter a couple of weeks ago, but about flock safety, just to reiterate, flock safety has not been proposed, discussed, or negotiated in the town of Stanford. There were discussions in 2023 about a potential partnership with Pine Plains Police related to speeding concerns, but after public input, that effort did not move forward. So we want to be clear that there are no current plans related to flock safety in Stanford. Road closure, there will be one. If you've been driving around, you might see some signs with trash bags over them. There will be a, I don't know what they are. They might be trash bags.
They are.
They are.
Definitely are.
Black trash bags.
Contractor special.
Cold Spring School, not Cold Spring School, goodness gracious. Cold Spring Road by Route 82 is expected to close in early May for bridge repairs. I know. For bridge repairs, we are awaiting final confirmation and will share full details, including timing and detour information. They put the signs up pretty early this year. Usually it's done around 2 to 3 weeks out from bridge from construction. They did it about 5 weeks out. So it got a couple people a little bit concerned about what was going on, and trucks have already started to go down Millis Lane, big trucks. So it is going to impact traffic in Stanford, and once I have information on what will actually be impacted from the DOT, I'll put it in the newsletter, and we'll obviously share it at the meeting in May. But I just wanted to talk about that because we have gotten a couple questions, and the Highway Department was called a few times this past week.
Julie, just to plug the service that's provided to the state too, you can always go to 511ny.org and you can look up construction information, but you can also look up traffic details and all that kind of stuff. But they do usually in a couple of days or week before those construction activities that start, you can see it there. The DOT also has it on their website for the county, but it's a lot harder to find.
Speaking of Cold Spring, the next Building Utilization Advisory Committee meeting will be taking place next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at Cold Spring School. So what the committee has asked to do is tour each of the buildings that are on the table for closure as part of this right-sizing exercise from the from the Pine Plains School District. So the committee will be touring the building and continuing to work on their report. It hasn't even really taken shape yet. This is the third meeting of this committee. Those meetings are open to the public, and community participation is highly encouraged. If you've ever read an educational impact statement, it's actually really interesting because it takes into account, and typically most of them are done in metro areas like New York City. So typically most of them take into account geography, a lot of focus on academics, when they're thinking about consolidating schools. They think a lot about the surrounding neighborhood and what the impact of the surrounding neighborhood is, as well as financial costs. And so right now it feels like there has been a cursory financial exercise that has taken place, but not necessarily a sort of larger qualitative look at, what's the surrounding the building in Cold Spring? What does the building look like at Seymour Smith? They haven't gotten real costs around the capital improvement costs for both, for Seymour Smith, which was the proposed school that everyone would move into. That number I've heard could be anywhere from $10 to $25 million to remediate that school. So all of that needs to really be sort of hashed out and put into this educational impact statement. And it's a very dense document, somewhere between 20 to 40 pages. So this is the third meeting. The school district is also in the middle, and it's not my job to say it, but the school district is also in the middle of their budgeting process.
You said Thursday?
Next Thursday, at Cold Spring School. Next is a EMS and ambulance update. For March, there were 34 total dispatches, 33 responses, and 20 transports. Next, also a regional meeting in Rhinebeck with Empress and over 10 Northern Dutchess municipalities to discuss improving response coverage, as well as opportunity for shared services and coordination. Everyone's aware that we have our own BLS, which stands for Basic Life Support Contract, exclusively with Empress. If you start to look at the amount of dollars that it costs us, we pay about $90 an hour for that service. The only town that has a contract larger than ours, that's a single town, is the town of Unionvale. So what Empress is really encouraging towns to do is really think about, and what they've come in and done is collected a lot of data, and they want to continue to collect a lot of data on where transports are going, what times, what days, what routes are they taking, so that they can then come back to the towns, because they know that this is not a tenable solution to keep having to put rates up, and they've been very open about rates going up. And so they really want towns to have a dialogue around potentially shared services. Our priority here in Stanford is obviously response times and making sure that we are taking care of our community. And so nothing will be done in an imprudent way, but Empress is really encouraging towns to sort of start to really think about things. And it's happening over more towards the river. Okay. This is a big one, and we want to give everyone a lot of notice on it, but we plan to introduce a local law next month to formally adopt the Greenway Compact here in Stanford. While the town of Stanford signed the compact in 1998, it was never formally adopted, meaning we're not currently realizing its full advantages, its benefits. There's two primary advantages to joining the compact. One is access to funding opportunities. So adopting the compact opens the door to a wider range of grant funding, including trail and recreation improvements, such as potential upgrades at the rail trail at the wreck. Those projects can be granted upwards of $250,000. So that's a big add that they added in over the last several years, is these trailhead improvements. And then planning grants for efforts like our comprehensive plan and zoning code updates. There are a lot of grants, and Dutchess County within the last 10 years was granted almost around 100, actually with the 35,000 from Northeast, $172,000 in planning grants over the last 10 years. So that is really helpful for towns like ours, where we pay, and we have a budget line item for a zoning consultant that's helping us redo our zoning. And some of that is eligible for reimbursement through Greenway funding. There are also grant opportunities for events and heritage development. Those are things like if we wanted to create, Scrabble something or other in the town, they have opportunities available for towns to really lean into their heritage and create sort of events and eventing around that. It's important to note that currently, while we're technically eligible for some Greenway funding because we signed the compact, we receive significantly fewer points if we were to apply for grant scoring. And only 50% of the available funding. So they give upwards of, what was it, $40,000? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was 20 and 40, and then some. If you're intermunicipal, it's like double that.
Yeah, and basically the sort of what we got from our call was like, if you didn't adopt the compact, you really shouldn't be applying for any grants because you're kind of faking it a little bit.
And we're also the last town in Dutchess County that has not signed on.
Last municipality at all, like overall.
In Dutchess County.
Villages, cities,
Yeah.
and towns.
Wow.
So I have, and I'll put this in the newsletter tomorrow, and a shortened version of this, but what we've heard, oh, and sorry, the second thing that are advantages to the Greenway are access to planning resources. So they have their own resources that are available to help towns like ours with planning expertise, technical expertise, which can help support ongoing and future town initiatives. Like we think about the speeding through the middle of town, there are planning resources at the Greenway office who can help us think about and brainstorm on solutions, and then there's grant funding available for us to make those improvements in town. So that's something we're really looking to take advantage of. I've heard concerns, I haven't heard them directly, but historically there have been concerns from community members that adopting the compact could infringe on home rule. To address this directly, I've spoken with neighboring towns, including Wappingers, Rhinebeck, Washington, Northeast, Red Hook, and Milan, all of whom have adopted the compact. Each has confirmed that there have been no limitations or drawbacks in their ability to govern locally. In fact, just last week, I spoke with Chris Kennan from Northeast, who's actively applying for $35,000 in Greenway funding for rezoning work, and noted that participation has not restricted their decision-making in any way, shape, or form. Most importantly, the local law we will introduce explicitly states that adoption does not limit the town's home rule authority. It does not allow any outside entity to override our land use or zoning decisions, and the town retains the right at any time to withdraw from the compact by local law. Did you have a question? Oh, sorry, Renee. Okay. I'm on a roll here. I'm on a roll. All right. Those are the supervisor reports and financials, not financials, the town finances. The annual financial report is nearly complete. Cash audits for the tax collector were completed yesterday. Everything remains on schedule. Tax levy distributions were done for all funds, including the general, highway, ambulance, fire company, and library. And overall, the town's financial position remains strong and stable. Okay. I'll make a motion to open the privilege of the floor.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
No questions? Yes, Renee?
There we go.
Here we go. We got a customer.
You preempted that question by asking.
I did. I planted one in her head.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Renee.
Renee Perpetua, Market Lane. I'm really concerned, as most of you know, about speeding in our town, especially on the secondary roads. And spring is back, and so are the speeders. And they dominate the roads. I live on a very narrow, windy country road, and people commonly go 50 past my house. And I'm really tired of it, and it takes away from the community and the safety of the community. People want to walk on the roads. There are no shoulders, as we know. People want to walk with their children. Kids want a bike ride. They can't do it because it's very dangerous. I mean, they do it, but I hold my breath a lot of the time because I know how fast some of these people go, and a lot of them are in very big, loud trucks. And we really don't deal with it. We almost did at one point, I know, with the Pine Plains Police Department, the idea of bringing them in and sharing, the patrol, which I thought was a great idea, but was flawed. But I think we need, as a town, to come up with a plan. And I would be willing to head a committee or be involved in collecting, coming up with some ideas to address the problem. Because it really takes away from
Your
the
hair's
town.
hitting
Yeah,
the
can you
microphone.
move
I was
away
trying
Oh,
to gesture
sorry.
you.
It really
Away.
takes away from the town.
Yeah.
That's better.
And rather than take a walk, people stay in their homes or they stay in their yards because it really is dangerous. And it's not pleasant when you're on a little narrow country road and somebody comes flying by you going 50 miles an hour. And it's commonplace. I don't know about all of you, but that's my experience, to the point where I open my mouth and people don't like it. But too bad. That's the way I look at it. You know, I monitor my area only because I just can't take it anymore. I resent it. They don't have the right to do it. They're breaking the law, and they're taking away from the quality of life. So I don't know what your ideas are generally, but I think we need to do something. I think it's time. I mean, I've been here for a long time. And it's going to do nothing but escalate. I can't see it getting better. So I think it's time to come up with some ideas. I think it's time to develop a committee and pursue the problem and try to resolve it in some way.
Yeah. So I think what we on the board, and that's part of what we're collectively putting our heads together. Charlie's a planner. I don't know if you know that about him, but that's
Yes,
something
I
that
do.
he's really excited about. And we think what we're hoping for, and I've heard this from I actually was talking to the Dutchess County planner today, and she's like, your town is so engaged in thinking about how to solve like rural problems, and one of them is speeding and like what they call traffic calming. And I think, Charlie's like jotting down notes, which I'm like, thank goodness, because I think yes, we do need to do something. And I think, police, I think collectively it was agreed, and I'm kind of on that same page, knowing sort of having a little bit more information about just in general that history, that police is not the answer here. I don't know, but I'm not saying that for certain, but it didn't feel like that a few years ago. I think what we want to explore are some more creative ways to calm traffic around here. And we're hopeful that by joining the compact, we'll have access to some of these resources, because that's what the compact was really designed to do, was help towns like ours sort of figure out how to mitigate some of these like real world problems like speeding.
But I really think that the citizens of the town can have an impact also. And I think there are probably ways that we could create a presence.
Yeah, and I think creating a committee around it and working through it that way, yes. I didn't finish my thought, but I was nodding when you were saying that. So
Right,
yes, creating a
right.
committee around it.
Whatever, signs.
Yeah, and figuring out opportunities for funding, yeah.
There's also several other roads that I've been
Yeah.
told about that have issues.
Yep.
Church Lane, or right now for the
Layton.
Yeah, things
there's
like
local.
that. There's creative measures that I was looking into personally, kind of just to
Gristmill,
grist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So we hear you, we hear you.
Okay. Well, I really would love to see something done,
I hear you.
sooner than later.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion to close privilege of the floor?
Second.
All right,
All in favor?
sorry.
Aye.
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 All right, so I'll do this one because nobody else wanted to.
You gotta read all 96 pages.
No. I'm not good.
There goes you
Speed it
guys.
up, Jess. All right, this one is a resolution 4A to introduce local law number 1 of 2026, and this is to reorganize the zoning code. So as part of its work last year, the zoning commission basically started looking through the comprehensive plan, all the priorities, and started listing them out and saying, you know what, the way that our zoning code is organized right now, it's going to take us forever to do any sort of updates unless we reorganize Chapter 164 of the zoning code and move things around so that they are bucketed and put into places that make more sense. And so we have a matrix that shows where sections of the zoning code are going to be moving in Chapter 164. Nothing is getting rewritten, but this is a organization exercise that will allow the zoning commission to easier look through the zoning code and make suggestions to us and make tacit suggestions to us in terms of like where this hits in the zoning code. Because it's a little like whack-a-mole right now, is the way that they've described it to us with the way that the zoning code is laid out in terms of references to different sections and different pages and things like that. So this is an organization exercise, and we have a 96-page resolution because it's Chapter 164 of the zoning code. So I'm going to read the first page. The matrix is going to be in the newsletter tomorrow. This local law will also be in the newsletter tomorrow. The Zoning Commission is meeting at 7 p.m. on April 30th to take any questions on this local law in particular. What we're hoping through that process is that we don't get a public hearing, because ultimately the zoning commission is doing a tremendous amount of work, and we are too in getting ourselves acclimated with the zoning code, but the zoning commission was really tasked with taking the comprehensive plan, working through the priorities that the town board has established for the zoning commission, and helping us with reframing and rewriting the zoning code. So we felt that it was the most efficient thing to do, to refer the general public, as well as a public hearing next month, but the general public to the zoning commission to ask and sort of workshop any questions on April 30th at 7. There will be a public hearing where we will take questions on this local law next month on May 14th. So that does not preclude any public hearing that the town board will be doing. But it's really a way to have a dialogue with the ones who actually are making the recommendations and putting the pen to paper. So I'm going to read the first page and a half of this. Town of Stanford, Resolution number 4A of 2026 to introduce proposed local law number 1 for the year 2026, a local law restructuring Chapter 164 of the Town Code and relocating Article, I don't do Roman numerals, Bob. 14. Thank you. Article 14, Chapter 164 of the Town Code to increase efficiency, legibility, and ease future modification. At a meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Stanford, held at the Town of Stanford Town Hall on the 9th day of April 2026, Town Supervisor Julia Dakota called the meeting to order, and she was seconded by Teddy Secor, moved the following resolutions. Whereas the Town Board wishes, at the recommendation of the Town Zoning Commission, to restructure the Town Zoning Code, currently located at Chapter 164 of the Town Code, to increase efficiency, legibility, and ease of future modifications. And whereas the Town Board wishes, at the recommendation of the Town's Zoning Commission, to relocate the Town's Scenic Roads Code, currently located in Article 14 of Chapter 164 of the Town Code. And whereas a proposed local law has been prepared to amend the Town Code to restructure the Town Zoning Code and relocate the Town's Scenic Roads Code for introduction pursuant to New York State Municipal Home Rule Law, Section 20, and eventual adoption pursuant to Chapter 164, Article 11. Thank you. Okay, we're getting there. 11, sorry. Can we just, get that out of the... 11 of the Town Code and Sections 264 and 265 of the New York State Town Law, and whereas the proposed action will not require permits and approvals from any local level, regional and state agencies other than the Town Board prior to adoption of the proposed local law, and therefore a coordinated secret review is not required, and whereas the Town Board must determine whether that adoption of the proposed local law is a Type 1 action, Type 2 action, or unlisted action pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review and 6 NYCRR Part 617.4, and whereas the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development is required to review the proposed zoning amendment pursuant to General Municipal Law 239M, and whereas pursuant to Section 164-56 of the Town Code, the proposed local law must be submitted to the Town Planning Board for a report and recommendation thereon. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the following proposed local law is hereby introduced to be known as proposed local law number 1 of 2026 and entitled a local law restructuring Chapter 164 of the Town Code and relocating Article 14 of Chapter 164 of the Town Code to increase efficiency, legibility, and ease future modification, to read as follows, and then the entire thing follows.
But like a Gertrude Stein poem, honestly.
Was it monotone enough for you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
So I have the second, and we have to do the roll call.
Okay.
Okay. Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Charlie Cunningham,
Yes.
Eric Ames,
Yes.
Nathan the Virtue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
And I will send this to planning, county planning, town planning board, and our 6 neighboring towns.
Yes. Also to the Parks Commission, I think. Right?
That's a new one.
That's at the end.
Okay.
We'll go over that.
Okay.
All right.
And this also schedules a public hearing for the
Yeah.
14th.
For the 14th of May at 7. One of 2 public hearings, which we'll get to. All right, Nathan, you want to,
Talk trash?
please, dump it out.
Been waiting all
Dump it
minute.
on us.
So I'm going to provide a little context for this. So I
Trashy
apologize. Yeah, unfortunately, no. So for those that use the transfer station, we've been using a combination of what is now the Unified, Welsh, and Royal. And there's a history where a lot of the refuse there would actually be sold, and so the town could actually generate revenue for some of that, but a lot of it's not being bought anymore. Actually, none of it is. So it's a pure expense at this point. The relationship that we have has been contractual. The contract has expired. We also could not locate it. And for anyone that is a user of the transfer station, you have noticed that the compactor is currently out of use. So it is essentially broken and beyond repair. And the relationship that we have, pieces of the equipment we rent and use, and that is one that we rent from them. And so part of that agreement is that they will continue to repair it, but it's gotten to a point where it can't be repaired, which is why there is a dumpster there that's being used as the receptacle for them to come and transfer it. In our investigation and talking to the staff at the station, there's also been some growing concerns about the relationship with Royal/Welsh as far as the service providing that they provide and the customer service that they provide to the team there. And so we started having conversations on looking at the contract, and the fees were going to go up significantly. We would probably have to, the only recourse that we could really do is pass those costs along to the people in the community that use a transfer station. Not ideal. And it also wasn't really anything that we accounted for in our budgeting last fall. So Julia also reached out to another service provider to get another, more, it was through a contact through the transfer station staff that they had to give us another approximate bid. But because of the size of the contract that we would have to do, we actually have to go through a formal RFP process through the laws that we've set for ourselves based on the amount of money that we would have to pay. So because of that, we're probably looking at another month or two of continuing to use the receptacle and not the compactor, which is a little bit of an inconvenience for anyone that's using it and the team there. I'm trying to get Jim to stop jumping on the trash in the bin, but that's what he does. So we're going to put an RFP out for several companies to provide services, and we'll evaluate it and vote on it and establish a contract and get a new compactor in there. So, but it's going to be a little bit just because of the process of municipal government that needs to move the wheels. It is what it is, but. So.
What do we have? We have 30 days for them to respond to the RFP, Jane?
Something like that. We'll make it as short as is fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So, is there anything else you wanted for me to share about it? I mean, that.
No, the only thing is that we're one of the last transfer stations in Northern Dutchess. And so it is an important service that we want to continue to maintain. The town of Clinton has closed their transfer station. So we are actively looking and brainstorming, and the transfer station guys, they've been a pleasure to work with on this process. They are awesome, absolute heroes in providing this service to the community. And yeah, so we're committed to keeping it open because we know that it is a cost-effective solution for residents in town, and we're going to do our best to grind away. No pun intended.
It's not a moneymaker anymore, but
No.
at least if we can break even, then it's a service to the community. So that's what we're trying to do.
All right. Next is permission for the Garden Club to use the Lower Town Hall parking lot for their annual plant sale on May 9th. We were giving Rita a hard time about this. She's like, please, don't make me beg. So I'll make a motion to allow the Garden Club begrudgingly permission to use the Lower Town Hall parking lot for their annual plant sale on May 9th, 2026.
Second.
Great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Want to do the next one?
I hope it's a nice day.
Yes.
Yes.
Day before Mother's Day.
That's
Perfect
right.
timing.
We plan it that way.
Buy your plant for mom.
The zoning board of appeals is recommending to appoint Tom Wallen.
Let's make a motion.
Let's make a motion.
I'll second it.
Teddy, right?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, I don't know who's got resolutions up, so people can grab whatever they want. We have 4 or 5 more.
I don't mind doing the hazard mitigation plan.
All right, go for it, Teddy.
It's this one.
Let's see. It's the FEMA one, correct?
Yes.
Labeled FEMA, sorry.
Let me give a little context. You
Do
want to give
you want to
context?
give context, or
You want to give it context?
what was it for?
Oh, so this was a, Dutchess County, over the last several years with climate uncertainty, has been updating in their hazard mitigation plan. It's, for anyone that's interested, it is a light 483 pages of reading. It's fascinating. It's got incredible GIS maps, and it just talks about climate vulnerability and hazards that could exist. I have not read it cover to cover, but it is printed out, and I am planning on reading it cover to cover. But it has been put together over the last, I want to say, like 5 to 10 years. And they're asking all of the local towns to adopt the hazard mitigation plan, which they will then forward on to the state and the federal government, which will help in case of a disaster, FEMA dollars for them to be eligible for, is my understanding. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for jogging my memory. There's a lot to remember, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is resolution 4B, adopting the Dutchess County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan, Volume 1, September 2025. Beautiful title. A resolution of the Town of Stanford adopting the Dutchess County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan, Volume 1. Whereas the Stanford Town Board recognizes the threat that natural hazards pose to people and property within Dutchess County, and whereas Dutchess County has prepared a multi-hazard mitigation plan, hereby known as Dutchess County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan, Volume 1, in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, and whereas the Dutchess County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan, Volume 1, September 2025, identifies mitigation goals and actions to reduce or eliminate long-term risk to people and property in Dutchess County from the impacts of future hazards and disasters, and whereas adoption by the Town of Stanford demonstrates their commitment to hazard mitigation and achieving the goals outlined in the Dutchess County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan, Volume 1, September 2025, now therefore be it resolved by the Town of Stanford, New York, that the Town of Stanford Town Board adopts the Dutchess County 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan, Volume 1, September 2025. This plan, approved by the community, may be edited or amended after submission for review, but will not require the community to re-adopt any further iterations. This only applies to the specific plan and does not absolve the community from updating the plan in 5 years. Passed and adopted, is that read Mary?
That's my part. The 9th day of April, by the Town Board of the Town of Stanford. Supervisor Judy Dakota,
Yes.
Charlie Cunningham,
Yes.
Eric Hames,
Yes.
Nathan LaVirtue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
Okay. I will make a motion to 4C to the floor, the Grange Month Proclamation. So, this is for April, correct?
Yes.
April 2026. So, whereas the Grange strengthens individuals, families, and communities through grassroots action, service, education, advocacy, and agricultural awareness, and whereas for nearly 160 years, the Grange has thrived because of strong community granges serving as gathering places where neighbors connect, leaders are developed, and local solutions are born. And whereas the strength of the Grange is built upon the vitality, visibility, and engagement of each community Grange across the country. And whereas in a time when communities seek belonging, civil dialogue, and local leadership, community Granges offer trusted spaces where individuals can serve, learn, and lead together. And whereas our local Grange, 808, has been active in our community since its organization in Bengal on January 23rd, 1896, thus celebrating its 130th anniversary in 2026. And whereas Stanford Grange 808 has a history of accomplishment and service in its 130 years of existence, including the organization of the Stanford Fire Company in 1931 and sponsoring the annual Stanford Community Day since its inception in 1959. And whereas Stanford Grange 808 continues to fill needs in our community and holds community events of interest for town residents, including Meet the Candidates nights for local, regional, and state candidates, defensive driving courses, fundraising penny socials for charitable causes, raising $1,000 for St. Jude Children's Hospital, sponsoring a St. Pauli's textile shed for clothing donations, helping with food insecurity through their little food pantry, hosting Flower Power, a student cooking group that prepares food for local food pantries, and continues to sponsor the annual Stanford Community Day with 2026 as the 68th consecutive year. And whereas at the 159th Annual National Grange Convention in November 2025, Stanford Grange 808 was recognized and honored as a distinguished Grange by the National Grange, the only Grange in New York State east of the Mississippi River to receive this prestigious award for 16 consecutive years and every year since the Distinguished Grange program began. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Stanford proudly proclaims April 2026 as Grange Month, and in celebration of this, the community is invited to the Grange Month Open House on Tuesday, April 28th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at the Stanford Grange Hall. Proclaimed this 9th day of April 2026 on the motion made by myself and seconded by,
Second.
thank you, Nathan.
What time on the?
That is at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Do I don't have to do a roll call on that one, do I?
It does
Yep.
say, roll call
Okay, I'll
vote
do
as
resolution.
follows. Yeah.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Charlie Cunningham,
Yes.
Eric Hames.
Yes.
Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
All right, I'll do the budget modifications. Okay, we got two, small ones, but still, we have to put them in. Okay, resolution 4D is, I have a lot of things up on my laptop, shocking.
You
Okay.
want this?
No, I got it, thank you. All right, this is a budget modification for insurance. We had our premium was up about $2,855.65 higher than it was in the budget. So we have a budget modification to support that increase. Whereas the town of Stanford has expenditures for the adopted 2026 general fund budget lines that will exceed the amount of funds available in these certain budget lines, and whereas the general fund has funds available in other lines and needs to transfer such funds to provide for expenditures, now therefore be resolved that the Town of Stanford Town Board hereby amends and transfers from and to budget lines listed below for fiscal year 2026. Plus $2,855.65 in unallocated insurance for account number ending in 1910-40, and a decrease in contingency of $2,855.65 for the account ending in 1990-40.
Second.
Thank you.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Charlie Cunningham,
Yes.
Eric Hames,
Yes.
Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
Okay. This is another budget modification for, we received some, we received some grants, which is very exciting. We received some gifts and grants. So this is a budget modification. We received one for the town clerk, and we also received a Green Pastures grant, which I announced in my last newsletter, of $1,000. Whereas the town board of the town of Stanford adopted the 2026 annual budget on October 22nd, 2025, and whereas the town of Stanford applied for a Green Pastures grant for $1,000 for water testing equipment, and the town clerk sought gift funding of $500 for town clerk expenses in February of 2026, and whereas the town was awarded the grant for $1,000 on March 25th of 2026, and whereas the town was awarded the gift funding for $500 in March of 2026, and whereas such budget amendments do not increase the total appropriations of the adopted budget beyond available revenues and fund balances, now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Stanford hereby authorizes the following budget amendments to the 2026 budget. For the line ending in 00-2705, gifts and donations will go up $1,500. And we will also see $500 from town clerk contractual expenses in account number ending in 1410-40, and an increase of $1,000 for Water Quality Committee contractual expenses ending in 07, is that 07? I think it is, 07-8510-40.
The total would be 3,000.
1,500. No, the way that it works, those are both revenue items.
So are they adjustments or are these actual increases?
They are increases.
Increases. It's money we didn't have.
It's money we didn't have, so we put it into the budget to spend.
Just like if you spent money.
Okay, I see how that's working.
Yeah. It confuses me too when it happens.
Mine was 2 scholarships for Doreen and I from the Dutchess County Town Clerks Association.
So it's covering them to go to the town clerk's meeting. So what they did was because
Okay, I see what I'm just trying to.
it's revenue, the revenue goes
Right,
up,
so-
and then the budget goes up.
So there should be another line here, because it should say that gifts and donation is receiving 1,500, but then it's also decreasing by that same amount because you're moving 1,000 to one account and 500 to another.
That's not the way it was explained to me. But we can look
Okay.
at it again, yeah.
Okay.
Because we did it
It
for
does look confusing.
It is confusing. We did it for the town clerk. We did it for the court clerk one
You're right.
because we had to increase
not the
fines
total? 'Cause
and
of all
forfeited
pluses.
bail. And when
It's not the
we,
total.
when we
You're
did
right.
that bump in hours for the court clerks. So it was a plus and a plus.
But it's technically a plus minus.
It's a plus minus
'Cause
in
it's-
accounting, but it's a plus plus because you're adjusting the budget. It's it's $1,500 that wasn't there before. So in order to put it into the budget, we have to do it as a plus on the revenue and a plus on the expense.
That part I understand, it's just the gift and donations it's inaccurately shown, is what I'm getting at.
When we spend it, it will go down,
Right,
but it's not spent yet. So this is a budget modification to bring it up.
got it, okay.
So next month when we're doing abstracts, we'll see that number
Well,
reflected accurately.
probably
it's
for
spent that
town clerk,
month.
we will, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see it modified. So what Deb does is, once this is in, she increases those line items in RDA,
And
and
then moves
then
it.
we can pull
Got it,
from
okay.
those when the expenses are met.
Got it.
It may not be next month.
It might not be
Later.
next month. For the Water Quality Committee, it won't be till like July or August. So did we do
I
this?
need a second.
Second,
Oh,
yeah.
you got a second.
I said it.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Charlie Cunningham,
Yes.
Eric Hames.
Yes.
Nathan LaVertue.
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
All right, so who wants to do does anyone have the CAC one?
You have another
I think I do.
Can I do it?
Yeah, I can do it.
You want to do it?
Yep, I can do it.
Okay.
I don't know how long it's going to be, so I don't know what I signed up myself up for. So this is a resolution 4F, which is the introduction of local law number 2 for the year 2026. And this is amending chapter 14, not a Roman numeral in this case, of the town code,
Lucky.
to modify the number of members for the Conservation Advisory Commission, also known as the CAC. So at a meeting of the town board of the town of Stanford, held at the town of Stanford Town Hall on the 9th day of April 2026 at 7 or 8 p.m. Town Supervisor Julie Descoto called the meeting to order, and she's seconded by, we'll get to that part, moved by the following resolution. Whereas the town of Stanford has established a CAC to, among its other powers and duties, advise the town board on matters affecting the preservation, development, and use of the town's natural features and conditions. And whereas the current town code provides a fixed number of 7 members on the CAC, whereas the town board has determined that providing flexibility in the size of the CAC will enhance the commission's ability to recruit qualified volunteers, broaden the expertise, and ensure continuity of operations. And whereas increasing the permissible size of the CAC to a maximum of 9 members will allow the town to better respond to workload demands and participation levels. And whereas the town board finds that this amendment is in the best interest of the town and its residents and will facilitate broader community participation and enhance the commission's effectiveness. And whereas Town Supervisor Julia Descoto advised the town board that, pursuant to the municipal home rule law of the state of New York, it was necessary to hold a public hearing upon this proposed local law. And whereas increasing the permissible size of the CAC to a maximum of 9 members constitutes routine or contingency agency administration and management under section 617.5 of the seeker regulations in New York NYCRR Part 617. Now therefore be resolved that the following proposed local law is hereby introduced to be known as proposed local law number 2 of 2026, entitled A Local Law Amending Chapter 14 of the Town Code to modify the number of members of the Conservation Advisory Commission. And then there is the law itself, which is effectively outlining the changes, which is an increase of 7 members to 9 members for the CAC.
And thank you, Curtis, for that language.
And the public hearing will be May.
May 14th.
14th.
So Nathan, you making the motion? And then,
Yes, I make a motion.
second?
I second that emotion. You wanted to say that all night.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Charlie Cunningham,
Yes.
Eric Haynes,
Yes.
Dave Levertu,
Yes.
Eddie Secor.
Yes.
All right. What's next? Sorry, I think people's phones are near the microphones and it's causing a little bit of static. We can maybe put them on your chairs.
It's behind me.
I don't know what's going on. All right. This next one is a motion
Yeah,
to
Nathan,
accept Doreen Brown's resignation from the zoning commission.
Second.
And then I'll make,
All in favor?
oh,
Aye.
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 And then I will make a motion to advertise for the new zoning commission member.
Second.
Who was that?
Pick one.
I'll pick you, Nathan.
Bids for a new little website provider that can help us redesign the website to become ADA compliant. We've aligned on a provider called Civilly. The cost, which will be in the next town board, which will probably be in one of the next town board meetings, will be $6,600 to completely redesign the website and bring it up to ADA compliance. It will not only make back-end functionality a lot easier for people like Rita Mary, it will make front end, it will be much easier to read. It will be mobile optimized. It will be beautiful. The company that we're going with, Civilly, is based in New York State, and they specifically service mostly towns of our size. Ambulance spent $64,062.50, and the capital fund spent $232.50.
I'll second the approval.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
I don't think we have any other on the agenda. So I will make a motion to approve the, I make a motion to open the second privilege of the floor.
Second.
Thank you.
Nathan.
All aboard?
Yep.
Aye.
We're in a funny mood today. I'll make a motion to close privilege of the floor.
Second.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yep.